Howdy everybody. It's been a while, I know, and I can't even remember the settings I used to record my screen, so we're winging it, right? And hopefully it looks good, hopefully it's not nasty, hopefully the encoding's not terrible, hopefully the sound's not too quiet. It might be. I'm kind of worried that it will be. But you guys have speakers or headphones and you can blare it up. Alright. So, a user the other day sent me a message, because I do read my messages, and I do reply to a lot of them, and the comments. And he said, hey, will you take a look at this program? And I said, sure, why not? So I did. And you run it, right? And you get your key. Isn't that usually what we type? And it's highlighted, as if they want you to copy it and paste it into something. To get an activation code, of course. So we're going to type some junk in and click OK. That wasn't right? Really? Isn't it? Anyways, current date and time. December 30th of 1899. That's a good date. Good date. And it's midnight, apparently. So what happens if we hit cancel? Your license has expired, or you have entered a wrong license code. Yay for generalized messages. The application will be closed. Well, does that mean we're going to see a flash? Yep. And I hate programs that don't close properly and set off this Windows message. Sure, it installed correctly. Okay, so let's open it in Ollie. Let's get down to business. Double click this and broaden our horizon. And let's, okay, let's pull this down here. And there we go, we can see things. So let's go ahead and hit run, and if we pull it up, we see our little screen here. And one thing I like to say is work backwards, right? Type shit in. Hit OK. The license code is not correct. Alright, we want to know where this came from, because just before it is where the magic happens. So we're going to hit pause, and before we hit the next instruction, we want to find where we're at. So let's do Alt F9 and execute until user code. Okay, well we landed here, but we're still paused and the message is still up. So let's go ahead and Control F9 and execute until return. Right? Well, it's still paused. Still paused. Still paused. Now we're not paused. Now let's hit OK. And we land right here. So let's put a breakpoint right here and hit run. Hit OK. No message. So now let's follow this in. F7. What the heck? Okay, so we determined that our call had to be from right here, this call, right? So we followed it in and we landed here and we see a call and a return. So surely our message box has to be in that call. Well, let's hit F8. And instead of following this in, let's actually skip over it and see if we have a message box. And if we do, we'll put a breakpoint here reminding us to follow it in. Or we could, write a comment that says, follow this one. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to do F8. We go over it and we see that we don't have a message. We're going to follow the return. And it lands another return. Okay. Didn't we say it had to come from here? So apparently, we're going to come back there eventually. F8. And now we see a bunch of calls and compares and moving of stuff at addresses and lots of, not a lot, but some math. Yeah, so let's just hit F8 a bunch of times. And we see a return, right? Well, we didn't return to where we just came from because we didn't actually call anything. Okay, so where did we return to? The top of the stack. Whatever address is at the top of the stack is where you return to. Return to. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now we're going to clear EAX, right? We're popping some stuff. Moving some stuff. We're pushing an arbitrary address. Right? Now we're moving to EAX, what's at this address, right? And then where you have call. Well, I don't want to follow it. Let's keep returning, because this return, as you can see, is used as a jump. He does that a lot. Right here, top of the stack, top of the stack. Uses jump a lot, right? So we're gonna keep hitting F8, and if we do in one of these random calls get a message box, then we'll just put a breakpoint on it and come back. But that's not gonna happen. So we do some more calls and jumping through returns, and we land here. So we just did a return, apparently from this call. Must have been because we landed here, and there's no jump landing point here. So now we see some useful stuff. We see license code is not correct. We see a jump that goes over it. We see a jump that goes over the jump that goes over it. Sorry if I lost you there. Then we see a call, a move to an address, what's at EAX, and a compare to the same address with OF94D, which is what the math in the end of the what serial you type in needs to be for you to have a correct serial. And if you hear that buzzing, I'm sorry. It's a text message, something like that. But anyways, so if we hit F8, we're going to come down. We're going to see our stuff. We're going to see the key. We're going to see a call. And if we stop and look, and if you notice on the screen, this is somewhere else. It's right here, right? So where is this called from? Find references. One place. And it's way up here. When the program is loading. Just before it actually draws anything to the screen, it calls this. And then when it gets to right about here, this call makes the window that asks you for the key. So we want to register this program, right? So if we keep coming down, we're going to fail this jump because our EAX was -1. It put it there. Now that address is not OF94D. And we see that we jump to the license is not correct. But the interesting thing is if we go back to here, which is where all the magic happens. So we're going to run and we're going to see our bad message. And an error, or 12. Because it likes to tell you about everything in whatever language this is. It looks like German to me, but I'm probably wrong because I'm no language expert. Just a hillbilly. Right, so we're going to hit OK. And we see our original breakpoint that we're not going to keep anymore. We're just going to hit F9. We're going to type in this one works. Okay. So here's our call where the magic happens, right? So let's hit F7. And we see all kinds of magic, right? All the way down to here. And if you see OF94D, you see OF94D, you see a call. So if this call returns a value in EAX and it's being compared with OF94D, then what is all this for? Well, that's probably just prep work, you know, the usual. So let's go ahead and put a breakpoint here and execute and tell it. Let's jump over it. We see that our EAX is in fact -1, not OF94D. But the interesting thing is this program did most of the work for us, because this next instruction that we're jumping over before we return would actually register the program because it moves to this address, EBP-8. The correct thing, OF94D. So if we just go ahead and nope, which means, you know, no operation, don't do anything. And actually, if you do some digging, opcode 90 is the same as like exchange EAX, which in a 64-bit system could actually do something. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and run, and now we're going to move the right thing to the right place to register the program. And now let's just hit run. What do you know? The program loads right up. Here we are. As far as I can tell, it's something to do with stocks, trading, monitoring, something like that. I don't know. But somebody wanted to use it. It looks pretty old, thrown together. I'm surprised. You know. Anyways, so let's go ahead and go back into Ollie here. And let's write these two to the executable, right? And we'll save it as number 1, right? So I didn't stop here. I said, hey, look, here's a working version of it. If you want, I can make you a keygen, or if you were just interested in the program, here you go. Bam, problem solved. If you want to make a patch for it, you just, find this virtual address and you change it to 90s. Really easy to do. That's why crackers are crackers. And just that. They usually find exactly where they need to change, they change it, and then bam, if the program ever updates, it doesn't work anymore. So you usually want to make a keygen, because usually if you find a valid key, in the end it will still be a valid key. But to do that, we'd have to really examine this, figure out exactly what's going on with the data that we give it, and then we would have to also examine this call and figure out, well, exactly what's going on here, because we see right here that this call is probably going to do whatever to our key that we put in. And, well, we'll start with some simpler keygenning stuff. It's a little bit easier to follow. This program jumps all over the place via return, and we're going to stop here because that was good enough for him. Thank you for watching. Please rate, thumbs up, whatever it's called now. Comment, subscribe, send me messages. I don't care. I will let you know that I do have a project that I'm wrapping up right now, and it will be making its debut shortly. A buddy of mine is working on a website for it, and when we get that all up, it will be on my channel, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Anyways, thank you for watching.